This episode of The Patch is brought to you by Hulu Plus. Watch your favorite shows anytime, anywhere with Hulu Plus. On your TV or on the go with your smartphone or tablet. Shows like Family Guy, Once Upon a Time, New Girl, Scandal, and more. Right now you can try Hulu Plus free for 2 weeks when you go to huluplus.com/patch. Stop wasting your money and time buying expensive razors. For just a couple bucks a month, DollarShaveClub.com will ship amazing quality razors right to your door. Come on, join the hundreds of thousands of guys who have upgraded to the smarter way to shave. Shave time, shave money. Join now at DollarShaveClub.com/patch.
Hey! Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Patch. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
Tai Chi. Burnie Burns.
He's Tai Chi. I'm Meg Turney.
Tai Chi.
And Bernie's doing martial
I
arts.
looked at the monitor when I heard Meg Turney. I looked up and I see my face. Good match. Good match.
Meg Turney.
So why is Gus not here today?
Gus is buying a house.
Oh,
Really? You can take time off of that? Because we did that all the times. Gavin didn't have a okay, yeah. It's fine.
He basically
He's
blocked
going the
out
other
a day
direction.
of paperwork.
Gus is going house to condo. So
Yeah.
he's like, I don't want to deal with anything ever. So
He decided yards are for suckers.
all right.
I'm learning that.
So we have a Gusless patch today.
Which basically means that we are running wild.
Let's go 1 hour and 47 minutes. Let's ruin
Speaking of which, hold on. He would be very upset if we didn't do this.
Actually, you know what? I think Ryan is the one who's the big stickler about the hourglass. For some
Which I
reason.
don't know why, because it doesn't go for an hour.
My favorite part is that last patch, Gus pulled out a second timer because I guess he doesn't trust this one, and Ryan got very offended that his personal timer wasn't good enough for Gus.
But his personal timer doesn't go for an hour.
Gus is a digital kind of a guy. You're talking to me the grains of sand falling through a small opening is not a precise measurement of time?
That's science,
I'm
Bernie. How dare you.
amazed by that.
Don't argue with gravity.
Yes.
Gus is not here, and I think you would be disappointed that we're going to be talking. I think we should talk first about Steam sales. You guys
Yes.
okay with that?
Yeah,
do
well, mostly because they've been occupying every waking hour. I keep refreshing them hourly, even though I know they only refresh every 8 hours, just in case.
Well, here's the problem with Steam sales is that they act like they're like, oh, look, this went up today, and better get it because there's like a big countdown timer until the next ones go up. You can continue to get the old deals even after they're gone.
I think the daily deal might be a 48-hour thing, because it does say, like, here's the last one.
Uh-huh.
But after that, don't they go back to their normal sale prices?
I can check right now with something that I bought. What did I buy on Monday? I have no idea. How much have you bought so far?
I haven't bought a lot because last Steam sale I bought The 7th Guest and 11th Hour, which are two of my favorite old PC games, and I still, a year later, have not touched them.
Yeah, I've bought, like,
A year later.
Go figure.
I've bought, like, 10.
I need to.
I can't stop. I just go, oh, it's $2. Why wouldn't I?
Of the 10, how many have you played?
One.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
How many have you installed?
3.
Oh, wow, that's not bad.
You're not doing bad.
I have to look on the other laptop, but I installed like Real Mist and I installed The Witcher 2, which, by the way, is 15 gigabytes. I had no idea, but that makes a lot of sense. I guess I'm just not used to. Like,
Wasn't The Witcher 2 also though on consoles? Was it dumbed down that far for consoles?
I have no idea, but that's why I would have assumed that it to be like a 7 gig download, but it's not. It was 15 on PC.
If I
just
recall-
assumed that basically I'm gonna get bigger textures.
Yeah.
Nice.
You get
Your
more
stomach
pixels.
Bernie's stomach was upset about
It
this
went,
texture.
Yeah. And
So
then-
Witcher 2 was the first one of the series that was available on Xbox 360, right?
Yeah, the first one is PC only. And then Witcher 2 came to consoles, and Witcher 3 will also be on consoles.
Okay.
But it's also PC, obviously.
And
I think-
15 gigs.
Yeah, I've been kind of leaning on the moving thing. Be like, oh, I'm a PC. I should put these pictures on the wall instead of looking at Steam deals. Been trying to
How
avoid-
digital is your life? So you guys are moving.
Yes,
Do you have a bunch of
everything.
books as well?
Yes, I have. I'm building my second bookcase because I
Right.
love books. But yesterday I got a Kindle. I love paperbooks. But yesterday I got a Kindle.
Welcome to the
And I
Kindle cult.
love it. Oh my god, I took it everywhere. I feel so cool holding it. I got to read in bed.
It's so tiny,
awesome.
you can
I
read in the
love
dark.
It. I love it.
You know what is a great time
Ashley
to get a
sold it to
Kindle?
me.
Before you move a bunch of books to a new
I know.
location. That's the best time to do
But
that.
I like to have. I would never get rid of my physical books. I love them.
Only thing that's worse than moving books is moving people's weights. It's like this is literally designed to just be a heavy object.
That's true.
And I've got to help you move
Gavin
this damn
has
thing.
2 dumbbells that were in the move, and I've never once seen him lift either one of them. But
Well,
they
he
made
did
the
the
move.
move.
Only to move them.
They made the move. Oh no, the movers moved them.
Oh, well then.
All right, just before we get too far off topic, I have to make a guess. How big are Gavin's dumbbells that he has?
So big. No, I have no idea what they are.
Does he have metric ones or whatever?
Are they the girl ones that are in like the colors?
No, I wish. But I will say, for how digital our lives are, we have like Nest now, like everything, like iPads control the light switches, everything is digital. So,
Not entirely video games, but it's tech related. Did you guys see that Nest also bought Dropcam?
oh, I didn't see that.
No.
Yeah, for I think $500 million. Gus is a big fan of Dropcam. He uses it every time he goes out of town. It's like a Wi-Fi camera that you can set up in your house. He does it so he can watch his dogs.
He checks his dogs, doesn't he?
We're having one installed in our house.
to look at your dog Penny?
Well, no, I mean for intruders, but also for Penny. Call it Penny Cam.
When I was working at Ubisoft, one of my coworkers installed. It was before all this, so he just had some webcams.
Yeah,
and that he could access remotely. And then whenever he was on a trip, he would call his landline and just like talk through the voicemail machine to his cats and watch on the webcam as they went crazy looking for him.
Oh, no, that makes me sad.
That's like the world's worst version of The Sims, basically what it sounds like to me. Like the most roundabout way to do that. Yeah, they purchased, Nest bought Dropcam for $555 million. That's a really specific amount of money.
That is, they're like, oh, what? What, you can't go the extra $5 million? Come on.
I also think it's interesting they specified that Nest bought them and not Google, because Google acquired Nest a few months ago.
Right.
And Google I/O is today, started today, and there was supposed to be maybe something from Nest, but we haven't seen it. I was excited. I was like, what am I getting?
I haven't
Nothing.
seen anything about that. What's weird is that iOS 8 announced that they got that that app that they're going to have home control, whatever it is, that's you'll be able to control things like Nest.
Right. Your
So
scenes.
Apple announced things to control Google's thermostat, but I don't think Google's announced anything yet. Or if they did, I've missed it. I've been catching up all day.
It will be nice if they have some kind of standard. We just recently published an app for RTX. The RTX event app went up, and it was published for both iPhone and Android. And, you know, version control is kind of a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? You have to make specific decisions. Are we going to make this one? Is it worth it to go in here? But obviously Android and iPhone
No
are the
Windows
big hitters.
8? Rude.
So no Windows Phone. So there's always going to be somebody who's left out.
Oh, yeah, there's always somebody.
And it's always Windows Phone.
No Palm Pilot or anything
I'm already,
else
yeah, no Treos.
Speaking of RTX, since this is a games podcast and people are going to probably yell at us if we don't talk about games at some point, do you want to talk about the games that are coming to RTX? Because there were some announcements in the last week.
As long as you know what the announcements are, because I don't want to get in trouble for leaking something that hasn't been announced yet.
I know we have announced that, of course, Bungie's going to be there,
Yes.
343 is going to be there, and that Insomniac is going to be there. In fact, they were all on the list of exhibitors that went out in a press release that you were definitely paying attention to.
All very awesome. Listen, I know who's there. I'm afraid of slipping up. I do the same thing whenever somebody asks me a question about Halo. I'm like, well, I know what I know, and then I have to know what everyone else knows, too. It's kind of a big problem.
Let me pull up the list, because it's actually
place.
really impressive. I didn't know that all of these people are going to be at RTX. Behemoth is going to be there.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Let me find this.
And I think Loot Crate is going to be doing something with them as well in their same booth.
Have you been playing anything from the summer sale?
From Steam Summer Sale? Yeah, so I've been playing, the big one that I've been playing is Contagion. I'm going to ask you guys a question, though, real quick before we get into that, because we have some games that we want to cover. The reminder of, when you said Insomniac's going to be there, they're going to have Sunset Overdrive there, which was one of my favorite games from E3. On that note, we're going into tangent here. Did you see that Evolve is now getting... has been labeled as the game that had the most amount of critics awards from E3 officially now, that it led the pack.
That makes sense.
But I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
From our gameplay experience, it was as like it felt. Little balancing issues aside, it felt like a release game. It played very, very smooth.
I gotta say, because we talked about Evolve a lot on this podcast, on the Rashid podcast, I'm a little concerned about getting into overhype for Evolve, because if you look at it. I'm afraid when it comes out, until people spend some time with it and get the nuances down for the different hunter classes and now the different monsters that exist, I'm afraid this game is going to come off initially for a lot of people that are going to be super hyped about it. Go, this feels like a tank battle in Left 4 Dead, and it's like it feels like just tank battle the game. I'm really concerned about that. And I'm worried I'm going to feel that way.
I always try not to overhype, even if I really, really like something. For example, I love the Walking Dead game, and I'm constantly telling people to play it. And I play them as soon as they come out, but Gavin always takes his time, and he just did episode 3 from season 2, which is the latest episode, which is phenomenal. But he was like, how is it? I'm like, it's okay. Like, I don't want to overhype it, because if someone's like, it's amazing, then it's never as good as you think it's going to be.
That's like her every week when we watch
worried.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Every single week. Oh, someone's going to fight? That's interesting.
I try really hard because I'm like, he's been reading the books. I don't know how far things are. So I'm just like, yeah, that was a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like, well, that's going to set up this thing amazingly.
You're hitting the table. Gus is not here to tell you not to hit the
Sorry,
table.
I'm sorry. I'm very excited. I'm hitting the table.
Yeah, that's from like Game of Thrones. I was like, wow, they're all going to dinner together. Interesting. I wonder what they'll have. I wonder who's going to walk out of that dinner surviving.
Yeah.
So here's the press release for RTX for what's going to be there. Halo the Master Chief Collection is going to be there. Halo 2 Anniversary is going to have, let's see, RTX is proud to announce that fans will have their first ever opportunity to see Halo the Master Chief Collection when the Halo 2 Anniversary gameplay demo debuts to the public at RTX. What else?
I have the RTX app right here. How about if we go over the list of exhibitors that's on the RTX app?
Yep, we got 343.
On my fancy iOS device.
We've got Bungie bringing Destiny. We've got Contagion's going to be there.
Now, when you say bringing Destiny, they are going to... I don't know that Destiny will be playable.
I don't know that it's going to be playable, but they are bringing Destiny in some form.
Right. It would be hard to have an RTX and not have Bungie be there, especially when they're launching a big new game.
Let's see. Yep, Insomniac is bringing Sunset Overdrive.
Indiegogo will have a booth. We'll be ending our Indiegogo campaign for our movie laser team there.
What? Let's see. Respawn is going to have some Titanfall stuff there.
Yep. See, that's the thing. I don't know if I can say what they have there. So we'll get a list cleared from Barb. She sent us a list of exhibitors.
This is all just from the press release. So that's all public stuff.
Yeah, and then we're going to have a ton of panels with Rooster Teeth personalities and
like we're going to have a patch panel, for example, and we're going to have a panel for the No, which is the YouTube channel that the show lives on.
But I wanted to get back to what we were saying before.
Yes.
So when you mentioned Insomniac, Sunset Overdrive is coming. They got a lot of press in the last couple of weeks because they inserted into one of their demos a female robed clad character, which was a shot at basically Ubisoft.
Ubisoft. Yes, it was a shot at Ubisoft because Ubisoft announced at E3 that there will be no playable females in Assassin's Creed Unity. And then Far Cry 4, another Ubisoft title, echoed that sentiment and said there will also be no playable females in their game because it is too much of a resource drain to put them in.
Which is actually a weird way to phrase it. As far as I knew, Far Cry 4, you play as the main guy, who they revealed recently in some art on their Facebook page, I think.
Probably never see him at any other point in time, but
Probably not. It's always about the enemy with Far Cry. You had Voss, and now you've got Pagan Min. But so they at least showed his face. And then the other guy, Herc from Far Cry 3. He was like some psychotic dude. He's supposed to be the guy that you call in co-op, and he's actually a character from an earlier Far Cry game, so that actually makes a lot of sense. It seems like a weird thing to go in and now go from main character / this very specific character can co-op to, we're not going to do female characters, because it seemed like it was something that went without saying.
Well, they've also had playable
but they
females
felt need
before.
To clarify it.
Yeah, they've had playable females in their games before as well, so I think that's why they were also asked, since they're also a Ubisoft title and Assassin's Creed was already coming under fire. But they also, the thing that got me about it, regardless of how you feel about it, is that the Assassin's Creed team said, it's too hard to do women, it's too much of a resource drain, we didn't have the time or the money or whatever. And then the next day, Alex Hutchinson, who is the director of Far Cry 4, said, it's so hard to put females in the game because we didn't have anyone to do the voice.
Really?
That's your hurdle, is that you didn't have a voice actress for the voice? And also the model would look too much like a dude. So he said it was this weird thing where you had I believe the quote is something like, it's this weird thing where you have a character that walks and talks like a dude. And they could model it like a female. It didn't seem like the modeling was the hard part, but that they had to change the animation for walking and have someone read lines.
It's like the Bren of Tarth for Assassin's Creed.
The funny thing is, it's not the first time Ubisoft has had a little bit of trouble with female playable characters. There was, I want to say it was a Ghost Recon. It was one of the Advanced Warfighters where they finally were going to put in females, but I guess they didn't allocate the resources, so they just put female heads on male soldier bodies.
Wow.
Well...
And it was like, well,
they tried.
It's not quite what
try it for
we
Gears
meant,
of War models. That'd be awesome. Let me ask you a question. How important is this to you guys? How important is it that a franchise gets to the point where it has female character models?
If you're playing co-op where you've gone outside the protagonist and you were making new characters anyway, go the extra fucking mile, man. I get it for a story mode. If this story is built around this character and changing the gender could have all kinds of implications for the continuity of the entire franchise later on.
Sure.
You get into some serious Shepherd level, complex stuff that they have to do.
Or
but
even
for
when you
co-op,
talk about resources, it's more than just a model and some animation and gameplay. I mean, they have to do cutscenes. They have to hire a voice, totally different voice actor. And even when they say voice, that can encompass more than just the actor. I mean, a whole team that gets the voice in the game, with facial animation and everything else.
Sure. Right. Well, a lot of I have kind of a cheat on this because my old roommate is a voice actress for video games and also a voice director for some of the Resident Evil games. And so I know that you can hire the same person to do the facial animations. She does her own mocap and also the voice. So you don't have to hire a ton of people always. It can be the same person.
And it is Ubisoft.
It is Ubisoft. They're not an indie dev. And then actually a former Ubisoft, one of the guys who worked on Assassin's Creed 3 came out and said, because originally they said we'd have to redo 8,000 animations to get females in Assassin's Creed. And he said this would take 1.5 days.
Oh my God.
It's bullshit. And he called them on it and was like, I've worked on the Assassin's Creed. I've worked with those models and I know that you're BSing. So it's not incredibly important to me. I think what was important to me was debating their excuse. I think they made a valid point later on when Ubisoft's PR people took over and said, look, you're always Arno no matter what. We took away multiplayer and you're always going to be Arno, so it doesn't make sense to be a playable female.
That's actually the part that I don't like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, we can debate that, but I think that's an okay excuse as opposed to like, well, we just couldn't afford it because we're such a tiny, broke company. Like, no, you're not. You're Ubisoft.
We can put a little bit of this perspective, too, because I just finished Assassin's Creed 4, and I 100% synchronized my game file.
Brag about it.
A little
Jesus,
bit.
that's so cool.
You know what you unlock?
Virgin.
You know what you unlock at 100% synchronization?
What's that?
You unlock cheats as you go. The cheat that you unlock at 100% is that it turns the entire crew of your ship, which you're with all the time, it turns them undead. So you have skeletons for your crew.
Oh, that's pretty
Okay,
cool.
that's
You're
cool.
Davy Jones.
I like that.
But think about the amount of work
they
that
get
somebody had to do
tentacles?
to like add, all those crew and make sure the skeletons could have
Right.
the right animation and everything. And it's like, what percentage of the players would even get to the point where you use a cheat? And then as somebody who did do it, I turned it on and went, oh, that's cool. Turn that off. It's like immediately. And then I was done with the game. So
Right,
I
you could have
stopped.
allocated the skeleton crew people to maybe making some ladies in the game. Like, you're obviously fucking around at that point.
And they did have multiplayer characters in Assassin's Creed 4 that were female models, or several
Yes.
of them.
Well,
They
and
have
also
had playable females before.
Yeah, well, and
And
they
a
had
protagonist.
some characters that were in Far Cry 4, not playable characters, but that were accompanying you on missions, and they were going through the same sort of climbing and all that. So they had a lot of those animations in place. Now, I will give Ubisoft a little bit of leeway because this is a next gen title. I assume they're working with a new engine.
Sure.
So they may have to redo a lot of work this time around. So it might just be that they do have to redo all 8,000 animations. That's potentially a thing. But at the same time, the co-op feels lazy if you're always Arno. Like,
Yeah,
I feel
you're
like if I'm
basically
joining
just
in,
it's just
totally disagree.
It's right. We talked about this a little bit, but it's basically I'm playing my campaign, you play your campaign. But it's like when you're sitting in the room with someone and you're on your phone and he's playing a video game and you're just kind of spending time together in the same room, not doing the same thing. That's kind of what this is. It's like you do your campaign, I'll do my campaign. We'll both be Arno, but
on these ones, wouldn't I be like dropping into like you and I would be playing and we drop into Burnie's campaign?
right, we're all Arno. Everybody's
right,
Arno.
We all see ourselves as Arno, and I kind of get that for the cutscene purposes.
I'm assisting you in your campaign.
But we're assisting you in your campaign.
The thing that gets me that I think is weird about that is everybody looks like Arno. Okay, you think you're Arno, you think you're Arno, I think I'm Arno. I think you're green assassin dude, I think you're blue assassin dude, and I'm Arno,
Why am I
right?
the blue assassin dude?
Blue assassin dude.
You're wearing a blue shirt.
But the thing is, in the gameplay trailer, they all have different attacks and different weapons. So is it rendering different models with different attacks? Like, is it rendering something different than what you're actually doing in your friend's game?
I don't know. The good thing about Assassin's Creed that they seem to manage is they have the open world system where you don't have to do things in order. And there's always a problem with games, and as a guy who likes achievements, when you do something and you're like, oh, you shut off this part of the game and it's no longer
Yeah.
accessible. And it's like Assassin's Creed seems to have that solved. So I'm hoping that on a co-op level as well, that whatever you do in your game, like if you get a collectible and I'm there with you, that I also get the collectible.
Stop freeloading off my game, blue
I
assassin
totally will.
guy.
I totally will.
I get that though, because you don't want to have to go through and do it once for you, like replay the mission a billion times.
Missions I get, but like if it's some sort of achievement or something, is everybody getting the achievement or just the person who did the work to get
Talk
the
about
achievement?
lazy achievements. You hear this
I
story?
know. I did we freeload off some people for on the live stream we did on Saturday to like kill a gigantic dude in Borderlands that I couldn't have hoped to kill. And then
Terramorphous?
and then
nice.
some like level 70s were helping us out and they just like one-shotted this guy and I was like, hooray! play.
That's
Yeah,
how I play
it's like
WoW with my mom.
3 achievements unlocked.
I
at once.
just, Mom, I can't beat this guy, and she comes and kills him, and then off to her next. Thanks, Mom.
Okay, so you guys, bottom line is this is an important thing, and you think that Ubisoft is in a way just phoning it in?
I don't think it's earth shattering. I do think it's news. I do think it's worth discussing and talking about because of the excuse that they gave initially. I don't think it's going to keep me from playing the game at all. I'm still already making my cosplay. I just think it's worth discussing.
Yeah, I won't stop playing it, but if I had a choice, if I'm playing cooperative, I would prefer to play as like a badass chick, especially because you were telling me that the most famous assassin from the French Revolution was a female.
She was, yes, she killed Marat, and she was a female, and a lot of people stupidly, I don't know why I looked in the YouTube comments when I mentioned her, a lot of people were like, well, she got cut, so she wasn't a good assassin. It was a political statement. Open a history book, everyone. She was still an assassin, and women have been, besides her, many women have been documented to be very influential in the French Revolution. So just historically speaking, it was a good idea to have women in the game. Soapbox
she
over.
didn't have a perfect run. You know what I mean?
She killed 1 for 1. Okay,
Yeah,
so
She was a lifetime.
yeah.
1 for 1 lifetime.
She was. But look, if I can play devil's advocate for a second, in defense of the Ubisoft developer making a franchise here, they do have a iteration of the game that does have a female protagonist.
Yes, they do.
That does exist. In Assassin's Creed 4, potential spoiler, there is a character that's a gender-bent character, essentially. So there are characters in it. And what is this the kind of thing where if you do it once, then you have to keep doing it? Like, is it once it's in the system, you expect every game to be like that?
Not necessarily, but at this point, like, we know they can do it.
Right, they've done it.
You know,
Right.
so saying like, oh, we can't, it's too hard, kind of falls as an excuse when you just did it.
But if they said it's appropriate to the story that all these characters are male, that would have been an acceptable excuse, or?
Yeah, I think like a lot of people have said like they make the game they make and you either buy it or you don't, and I do agree with that. As much of a like kind of a like a kid fit excuse as that seems, like they do make the game they make and you buy it or not. That's what like. I agree with that part of it. So, like, I see both sides of it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say in a really weird way. I see both sides of it. I think that they should have women as an option. But I get that they're really just following Arno, and they've kind of just taken away the whole multiplayer aspect completely away from the game. So you're going to be Arno no matter what.
Fair enough. Well, I know we spent a lot of time on it, but I was
Yeah.
really interested in having 2 women on the patch at one time. I wanted to get your perspective on that. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Same sort of thing. Still play it. Still wish I could have a chick. I actually didn't play the first Fable because I was like, I don't want to be a dude and get married as a dude and like just go like that. I just like it just doesn't interest me. This is a little bit less like that because, I mean, you aren't making choices about the character's future life the way you do in those kinds of games. Those games, I feel the gender choice is much more important.
Yeah, it's weird. I never think about it. Like, if I
Really?
rolled multiple WoW characters, I just have some that are female and some that are male.
Really?
Never
I
think about
never
it.
roll male
I would
characters
never
in
roll a
anything.
male.
Really?
Always female.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I have a choice, I'm female 100% of the time.
I did a female shepherd run, too, just to see, like, all
You're the
the
reason
different
people
voices.
don't give me free stuff in WoW anymore. 'Cause they think I'm a
Oh,
dude.
yeah. I'm the fake girl.
When I first started playing MMOs, I legitimately thought that all of the female characters were other women who were playing. And I was like, people would complain about how mean people in the world were. And I was like, no, people are really nice. Like, they just give me their extra gear all the time. I had no idea that, like, it was, that was the thing.
You're so cute.
All right, let's talk about Steam sales. So what
Yeah.
what have you guys been playing off the Steam sales?
I actually got Guacamelee, which until like yesterday, by the way, I always called Guacamole.
She was like, I got guacamole. I'm like, guacamole, Ashley.
And I for some
I
reason,
think I said
just
guacamole.
Yeah, you came over.
Some people say melee, though, instead of melee. It's,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, so
I just
was,
read it wrong. I thought that there's the first A in the guaca, and then I just read the first E in
Guacamole.
melee as an A2, and I was like, guacamole.
Guatemala.
This might also be because I really like guacamole.
Exactly. Well, Muriel earlier was like, I don't know what this game is, but I want to eat it. Was what she said.
Well, the problem, too, with talking about anything on a weekly show talking about Steam sale games is we tend to be talking about a little bit older games, too. Like, this game's been out
absolutely.
for over a year, right?
Over a year.
Yeah.
When was it? April of 2013.
Yeah,
came out.
I didn't, until it came up on the Steam sales, I didn't know it was on PC. The first and one of the only times I really heard much about it was, I think it was coming out on Vita. And I just put my blinders on because I had no intention of getting a Vita because I was like, I have a 3DS, that's plenty. I'm not getting 2 handhelds. Come on, my handbag can only hold so much. So I just like put my blinders on, like I don't want to know, I don't want to see about it because I'm not going to get it anyway. It's not relevant to me. La 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 la.
Yeah, well, I'm old school. I bought and didn't play this game last year.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was sad that I saw it at Indiecade in LA, and actually it was in 2012 that I saw it. And it was supposed to come out, and it got delayed. And I was just like, "Come on, Guacamelee!" So when I saw it playing, I was like, "What are you playing?" Like, it gets whenever I see an indie game that I saw before it was get released, it's like a baby I saw. Like, oh, I'm a baby. I didn't have anything to do with this game, but I'm still excited when somebody plays it because I'm like, "Oh, yay, they did good."
Yeah, I was actually really pleasantly surprised. I went into it I had a couple reservations at first. One, because I knew that it was sort of like supposed to be like a cartoony Mexican culture sort of referential. And I was like, oh, is this going to be super racist and like super stereotypical? It's just going to be like, I mean, like the guardian of the luchador mask is named Tostada. and I was like,
We're trying to check off some boxes here for racism.
yeah, I was like, I don't know, man. But
so
then,
what is it? Here it is. What is the?
So. It's a side-scrolling puzzle platformer, and you play this guy, and he's going after El Presidente's hot daughter, who got kidnapped by Calaca, who I guess is the god of the dead, and he's using the Day of the Dead to try to mesh the underworld and overworld. And so you first thing off, he kills you, you die, and you go to the underworld.
That's a rough way to start.
And then Tostada.
That is
comes
awesome
along.
art. We're seeing a big dragon.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful. So I actually took some gameplay last night that we'll have in the video version of this for those who are listening to the audio podcast if you want to check it out.
I'll put on the link dump for everybody who listens to the audio podcast.
Yeah, and you start off in the underworld. You come across this magical luchador mask, and the guardian Tostada gives it to you and sends you back to the overworld. And so, but it also, and I didn't know this until I got a little bit further into it, there's these portals throughout each level that will switch you so you can move between the overworld and the underworld.
Yeah.
And the levels are a little bit different in each, so you have to rely on switching between them to bypass obstacles and do a whole bunch of stuff. And it gets really crazy once it starts, like once your platforming puzzles start relying on that. So you're flying through the air, hitting a portal, going to the underworld, bouncing off a wall there, through another portal, back into the overworld to get to another wall. It's just crazy.
And you played this game on an Xbox One controller.
Yeah, I did. So that was another first for me. I've never played a PC game with a controller. And I know that those controllers have had that support for years and years and years and years. But whenever I think like, oh, I'm going to go play this on PC, it's normally because I think a game is better suited to mouse and keyboard. Like that's why I make the choice that way. And so this one you actually start it up and it goes, oh, this is better with a controller. And I was like, well, I don't know if 360 controllers work or if they need something special, whatever. But I did know that earlier this month Microsoft added PC compatibility for the Xbox One controller. So I was like, I'm gonna give this a try. And
I find that
it was
fascinating
really easy.
because they released the drivers for the Xbox One controllers for the PC just in time. They don't know when the summer Steam sale is going to happen. Or maybe they do because maybe they have some deals that are in there, so they might know. But anyway, they release it out before the summer sale. So now you have your drivers to play the controller. I think that kind of nerfs the excitement, and it's literally the last thing that I'm excited about for the Steam box is the Steam controller. Is that, where is that thing? When's it coming out? And
Next year sometime.
Yeah.
And it literally is like this, and that's not to say I'm not excited about Steam. I play most of my games on Steam these days, but the Steam box thing is just like, it has gone so far away from the original philosophy of what I thought it was that I just like lost all enthusiasm for it, but I still wanted the controller. Now that I can take an Xbox One controller out of one room and put it in the other room and use it, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like all it takes is a micro USB cable, and you just plug it in, and then you're going. The only downside,
you don't have to download a driver or anything like that.
Oh, you do have to download a driver. Right now, I think the drivers are only available via, via Major Nelson's website, but they're going to add them in like a Windows update as well.
That is a soft launch, I would say. That's really interesting. They were really trying to get that thing out there to early adopters. Ooh, we have thunder.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a storm coming.
That's some nice thunder.
But it's funny. The only downside is that I think like the controller drivers, whatever, make the game. They emulate a 360 controller. So all the mappings in the game and everything are still the 360 buttons, which is great for the most part, unless it's like it's telling you to use the back and start buttons. That's like a tiny niggle
opposed to
because
what?
there's the menu and list buttons or whatever they're called.
Those buttons on the Xbox One, they don't even have names. They're terrible.
As opposed to bullet, point, and squares.
Yeah. As opposed to hieroglyphic.
Yeah.
This is cat ascending to heaven. But I want to point out Guacamelee
Yes.
from Drinkbox Studios
Yes.
is out on PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, Microsoft Windows, obviously on Steam as well. And it's coming out for PlayStation 4, the Wii U, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. According to Wikipedia, it'll be out on July 2nd, 2014.
You guys, you were talking about the platforming in that, by the way. Tried 2 people trying to do those portals, and platform at the same time. You'll break up. It's Flock.
Now,
Oh
in a
my
second,
God.
I want to talk
So
about the game that I was
fucked.
playing because I like it a lot.
Yeah, hold that. I'm going to read this really quick, and I'm going to read it in my sexy radio voice. Big razor companies think we're stupid. Every year they roll out some ridiculous shave technology gimmick and expect us to shell out the big bucks for it. Do you really need a razor with a vibrating handle? No. Roller pivot ball? No. Laser pointer? I know, I don't. We were shaving just fine before any of that junk, and I definitely don't need to spend my hard-earned cash on it. If you're sick of being treated like a chump, join the hundreds of thousands of smarter people who joined DollarShaveClub.com. Dollar Shave Club delivers the best blades and grooming supplies for just a few bucks a month. Their blades are better than the big shave companies for a fraction of the price. Honestly, I got the best shave of my life with their 4X razor. You gotta try it. Patch viewers can get started now at dollarshaveclub.com/patch. And hey, if you're already a member, you gotta check out their new Dr. Carver's Post-Shave Lotion. It's the perfect way to make peace with your face, or, in the case of ladies, your legs. After the disruptive act of shaving, stop getting ripped off by the big shave companies. Join dollarshaveclub.com/patch. That's dollarshaveclub.com/patch.
I would be curious what the demographic breakdown is for the Dollar Shave Club audience or customer base.
Oh,
Is it most? It's got to be mostly dudes.
it's all dudes.
Dollar Shave Club, you think? I don't know. I actually like using dude razors for my legs. It's just easy.
I have actually those razors, and they're really, really great. Here's the one thing I don't agree with: the one white Charlies. I don't feel like they're for ladies.
Gus really likes
I know
those.
men love them, but I do not feel right about the one white Charlies. It's a little, I don't know if it's the peppermint or something. It's not for ladies.
Are you tingly?
It's very tingly. It's unsettling to be tingly.
Yeah.
Tingly bum is one thing.
You're saying when you leave the bathroom, you want the bathroom experience to stay in there?
To be done then. It was great though because I actually got them a total tiny tangent. I got the one white Charlies I think like 2 days before Gavin pooped himself at my house, and I was like,
Really?
I got something for you. It's gonna help you feel a little bit better.
I got this. Now go outside the house for the rest of the weekend. Was that at your place that happened?
Yes.
Your place in LA?
Yes.
It's unfortunate. So unfortunate. So was the whole package gone at that point?
Oh
So-
yeah, it's gone.
Oh my
It's all
god.
done now.
Oh my god.
Well, luckily there'll be another one
I feel
next
like I'm
month.
embarrassed for him.
We're all embarrassed for him.
At all
What were you
times.
playing for the Steam sale?
Okay, for the Steam sale, I got a bunch of different games. Like I said last time, old school, I got and didn't play Guacamelee last year. I think I didn't play it around the same time I wasn't playing Sins of the Solar Empire.
I love how you base
Which by the way, I
All the games
also
I'm not playing
Which
on
by the
Steam.
way, I also bought.
Did you?
I totally bought.
Well, I just
Sins of the
identified
Empire.
this trend now.
So
It's
excited.
like when a Steam sale comes up, I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And it's like, there's this game and it's 75% off. I love that game. I've always wanted to play it. Here, I'm going to buy it. And then Steam goes, you already own this game. Do you want to play it? And I'm like, nah. I'll just leave it there. So I've been playing a lot of Game Dev Tycoon because I did that for a game time.
Is that the same as the mobile game?
I think from what I've read in the comments of the YouTube video, I did a game time with Freddie Wong in Game Dev Tycoon. I think there's a mobile game that a lot of people are claiming Game Dev Tycoon ripped off.
Oh yeah, whatever the mobile game was, it was big like 2 and some change years ago. So much fun.
But people on YouTube will say everything rips off everything.
So much fun.
I read a really funny comment where when we said the premise for Laser Team, someone goes, "It sounds just like Destiny." It's like, really? Doesn't sound anything like Destiny. But people just make connections in their brain. It's easy. It's easy for people to do that. In fact, when we were at E3, I'm always really careful because video games are getting to the point of sophistication. There's enough history with video games now. In fact, I just read an article that said by 2018, the video game industry will be at $100 billion a year.
That's amazing.
That's insane. And I think last year, box office, films did about $10 billion. Wow. So it's you can see the direction everything is moving. But I'm very reluctant.
One of the arguments that people make against that is like, well, yeah, but games cost $60 each.
No, it's true. Per unit cost is a big deal. And you could argue that more people go to see the movie, but still, it's
You ever
at
go
the
to
end of
the
the day, it's how
ArcLight?
much
That's
money.
a $60 date too.
Yeah, no kidding. We go to the Alamo, you get dinner and everything
Yeah.
else. But it's one of those things. It's also a game lasts 20 hours.
Yeah.
20 to 100.
Like dollar per hour, like on a dollar per hour ratio, games, like hands down, are like the most cost efficient form of entertainment. That's how I always justified like buying new games when I was
There's really no
broke.
question. It's also the thing too. We were talking about. We came in for the live stream this weekend for Laser Team. Ash had a stack of her discs. She had them in a Ziploc bag for some weird reason, and the Ziploc bag broke, and it scattered discs all over the pavement outside. And I made the comment that we worry so much about the cost of the consoles when they come out. Like, oh, this one is $100 cheaper than this one. And it actually really does drive sales. It really does. And the Xbox One just finally caught up by having a Connectless version with a cheaper SKU. But we worry so much about the $100 difference in the consoles. By the end of a 3 or 4 year cycle, we've got about $3,000 or $4,000 worth of games in a stack on our shelves. You know what I mean?
Or on the asphalt.
Or on the asphalt in this case. I figured she dropped about $2,000 worth of software.
Yeah, when I
dropped about 30
moved,
games.
I didn't have enough room for like all the boxes and everything, so I just took all the games that I really wanted to play over the next few months, put them in a Ziploc bag together. That's it. And then I was like, oh, I'll take this in for the live stream, so that we'll just have like a whole bunch of games because it's so convenient. They're all in a Ziploc bag already. Bottom fell out of the bag.
Oh, that's awful. I can't do the no case. Like,
I totally
cases
can.
is so important to me. Like, I have to have it on my shelf. I don't know. It looks nice. I'm proud of them. I even have BioShock Infinite on my shelf, and the disc is somewhere in the abyss. It's never coming back, but I've kept the case that someday the prodigal disc will return. I kept it for. I'm one of those people.
You're a romantic. You'll like this. This is a crazy thing. I looked up Ashley on our site one time, and I realized that 7 years before we met, I wrote a blog in response to a blog that she wrote about collector's item stuff. And I was like, this girl's crazy.
Oh, it was like you're like the opposite.
Yeah, because at the time I had like every PC game box that I'd ever for every PC game. Like I had everything, like the old ones, like I had my original Myst box that had been squashed a bunch of times, but like I taped it back together, so I still had it. And this is back when the PC game boxes were like this big, and then you had like the weird shaped ones, like Tomb Raider 3, I think it was like this. It was like a pyramid shaped
Or like the
box.
Titanfall thing you got to fit in the trunk of your car.
Yeah, it's just so I just like had all of that stuff, and I loved it. I had it just displayed proudly. I was super excited, and he's like, I like to throw the case away when I walk out of the store.
It breaks my heart. Gavin and I had this exact argument. I have like my 11th hour box, my 7th guest box is somewhere. I keep all of those boxes. And
crazy.
when I see like a case go into a trash can, my heart breaks a little bit.
I will stand outside the door of a GameStop and I will take everything out and throw it in the trash can right there. And just take the disc home.
I'm going to vomit on myself.
He does keep at least the game cases now, but mostly he just downloads stuff instead.
I just digital everything.
Digital, I understand.
Which I've learned to not talk about because people have a knee-jerk reaction to that. But I know eventually you're all going to be.
Well, see,
with me.
people say that
Digital.
One of the big things is people say, well, I want to know that I will have it always in case something happens to the internet, whatever. Guess what? That's not going to save you from asphalt.
Yeah.
No,
That
it's true.
was like that
Guess
was
what? You can't drop a digital
That was a rude
download.
awakening that I had.
Yeah, and you're never going to be perfect. You know what I mean? It's like,
Well,
even in the
you're
case
not
where,
ever
where something cool, like, let's say you keep a digital version. Let's say you had a Halo 2 that was digital back in the day. They also can just re-release a new version of it that's, higher res and remastered, and you'll want that one anyway. So even if they had a perfect delivery system, there would still be a reason to buy it again. Going all the way back, circling back to complete my thought about E3, one of the things I'm wary about when I talk to developers is now video games are at the point where there's so many other games you can reference. I'm so wary about referencing like, oh, this reminds me of like with Sunset Overdrive. It reminds me of Jet Grind Radio and
Which, by the way, everyone was like in the comments because you interviewed that guy and you talked about Jet Grind Radio, and everyone goes, "Don't you mean Jet Set Radio?"
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the sequel.
No, it's the first. The name it was first released with was Jet Grind Radio.
Right.
And so basically, you can
think
call
the
all those people who think it was Jet Set Radio suckers.
Well, I think the one I'm talking about, the original one I played was a Dreamcast game. So
Yeah, that was-
Jet Set Radio, and then called Jet Grind Radio in the original North American release. Oh, fucking OG! What's up with you guys?
But I feel the same way because sometimes you'll say something like, "Oh, that reminds me of X, Y, or Z," and they'll be like, "Well, we that wasn't what influenced us." Like they get like
People get defensive
worried
about
about
it.
Yeah.
Listen, that's the first thing anyone does in movies or TV when you pitch an idea for something. Oh, it sounds like this meets this, and you have a visceral reaction to
you're
that
like, "No."
initially, but then after a while you're like, oh yeah, that's good. That's a good comparison. Like Red versus Blue was called Stripes meets Star Wars, and I was like, oh no, Clerks meets Star Wars, and I was like, oh, that's a great way to describe it. So we put it on the DVD cover. It was actually from a
Embrace
negative
it.
review. Yeah. Okay. Okay, what I've been playing on Steam, though, mostly, and you've watched me play this a bunch, Ashley hates...
And I've kind of gone,
She hates horror games. You hate any kind of, like, you hate gross games, right?
Yeah, I don't go in for, like, a lot of blood. I definitely go in for a lot of zombies, because that seems like there's almost always, like, they just go, like, oh, well, it's zombies. They're not humans. We'll just make them all full of blood. And it goes everywhere. And I just go,
But I've been playing a lot of Contagion. It's by Monochrome Studios. The official release date was back in April, but it's one of those early release games, which I think came out the middle of last year. It's a zombie shooter, but it's not a super fast-paced one. It's fairly slow-paced, even though my character's running here. And it does a really cool thing, because all these levels the maps are the same, but they change what areas are barricaded off. And it's kind of a typical PvP. I'm playing a hunted mode here, which is like a deathmatch, where I'm fighting against other survivors, and then you'll see I shot this guy, and sure enough, there's somebody like right behind me shooting me when I shoot them. And so there's zombies that are part of the environment, but then when you die, as I just did, you'll come back, and you'll see here, you come back as a zombie yourself. So after you're dying, you're out of the match.
wow, nice flailing, Burnie.
Thanks, buddy. I'm running there. And I just did a little roar there. That helps me hoard up. You can get like 15 other zombies with you, and you're kind of fast. You're not like a full-on, like, fast zombie. Every time I want to say a fast zombie movie, I always get corrected, get told it's not a zombie movie, like 28 Days Later or something. It's not a zombie movie.
Oh, it's Rage.
They're infected. They're not zombies.
I'm sorry.
The biggest letdown in that
I'm
movie,
sorry. They're plant-based.
But here's me as a zombie trying to hunt down another survivor who's left. So you stay in the death match, fighting kind of PvP and PvP versus E, and then when you die, you become part of the environment yourself, and you have a different level of play. It's fun, because you have to like blend in as a zombie, because you can tell the running zombies are the human ones, but then you go to a blend mode where you just kind of like walk along, or you just kind of fake that yourself. And that's what I was doing at the end of that clip, was kind of like faking, oh, I'm just an AI zombie. And those are not really, you don't have to worry too much about those unless you get too close to them. And the guns are a big deal. Like, you have a silent stealth weapon, a melee weapon, and you can take out zombies. A melee weapon.
A melee weapon.
And you want to do that because when you fire guns, that's how you find everybody on the map.
Right.
You just hear gunshots going off. And if somebody gets like a string of zombies, like 15, going into like a bathroom where someone's just like capping everyone as they come in the door, you can zone in on that person right away, because they're just like shot after shot after shot, and you can find them. Yeah, like here's me with I was killing somebody. That's a player zombie, because they're running at me. And then we'll put this in the linked up too for audio podcast. And then it's like I go into these tents, and these are where you can find weapons on this particular map. This is actually the most well-lit map, which is why I used it. And I could hear someone off to my side stabbing a zombie. And so I went out the back there. I could see him moving, went out the back, found him, and then shot him in the back of the head. So I have a lot of fun with this game. To me, it's like if DayZ is too much of a big commitment for you, and I've always wanted to be a bigger DayZ player, I just don't have the time to invest in it in like a persistent character. This is like a little bite-sized kind of DayZ. And that clip we just showed, right after I killed that guy, you'll see I immediately just drop to the ground and start picking up all of this stuff, because ammo is a big deal. But the matches last like 3 minutes to 6 minutes. So it's just like bite-size, get in, get out. I can play like 2 or 3 matches, and I'm done. That's the kind of thing I love.
We were talking about this earlier, that it reminded me of Flood, and it's like the one game type nobody ever wants to play with me in Halo. So I'm like, play this now. I'll be like, fine, you want to play Flood? I'll play Contagion.
Yeah, it's like what started us on Halo 2, it started as zombies.
Yeah.
It was a custom. Not as good as Griffball, but still a very admirable game.
No, it's a fun game type. I always liked zombies.
Listen, it's almost like, we're going back to our thing. It reminds me of this.
Yeah, that's exactly why.
We're gonna insult the guys. Where it seems like somebody played zombies and said, "I'll just make this as a formal game type."
Yeah,
and it's based on the spiritual successor to a Source game called Panic, Zombie Panic, and there's a panic mode in it. I just don't like that as much as the hunted mode. And there's an extraction mode, and there's some co-op stuff as well where you have to like escape from an area as well. But I thought the PvP stuff was really unique for just deathmatch style play.
Very
really cool.
It's exciting.
So even though it is like Zombie from Halo, it feels totally unique. It doesn't feel like they tried to formalize that.
And is this a Steam only game?
That's a really good question. I think it is, yeah. I think it's like one of those things that was in early access and then just finally released, and Steam seems to be the home field for those.
So this is an example of early access done right.
It is, because when I got, or at least the time that I finally heard about it and started to play it, it was pretty much a complete game at that point. But it has changed quite a bit since I started playing it, like on and off, over I bought it just recently, but I was able to play it like 2 months ago for something else, and then it came back to it when it came on sale.
Is it more polished, more balanced, or just more maps maybe?
A little more polished.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's any major changes, but polish is there.
Yeah, I every now and again, I'll be working on my PC here, and I see Burnie's playing Contagion, and I go, That sounds productive.
And 50% off right now on Steam. That's what it is right now.
Go
So-
Steam summer sale.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy. I wonder. I would love to keep a counter of how many of the games I'm buying that I end up playing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or even
you
install.
should.
That's the big thing is the installed.
Yeah. It's
Do you
easy to just
install
go-
all your games as soon as you get them? Like you don't.
No, not right now. I just installed a couple that I would like to play in the short term, but there's some that I'm like, I'll play that at some point. Or there are some like Real Mist Masterpiece Edition, which I know that I'm not likely to play ever, but since Myst was like my first real PC game that made me go, I like video games. I just feel like every edition of that comes out, I have to buy.
It reminds you back when Netflix was all discs, and you would have movies on your list that were like, oh yeah, I definitely want to watch Hotel Rwanda one day. It's like, and you would put a list, and then suddenly it works its way up to its top 3,
you're like-
and then you get mailed Hotel Rwanda, and this was Jason who plays Tucker. That was his movie. He kept that movie thinking, I'm going to watch that this weekend. 6 months he had that
Oh
movie.
my
He estimated
God.
that Hotel Rwanda cost him about $65 to not watch.
Yeah, I had a couple of movies that would just hang around for like 6 months before I sent them back in defeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're done. Listen,
never gonna watch them.
I'm never going to dedicate 2 hours to watching this thing.
It's
So
like
that's-
I know that you get those things where it's like I know I want to watch this. This is something that I should watch. I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm just not in the mood to watch it right now or ever, really.
Yeah, exactly. I like it in theory.
Yeah, I get a lot of those, and that's actually a thing I have with a lot of games too, where I'll buy a game and I'll be like, yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to playing this, and then a year later, I'm like, oh, I have this game. Why didn't I play this? I have no reason I didn't play this. Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider, that's one of those.
Oh, wow.
For me, like I have it, and I'm actually still really looking forward to playing it.
Should.
There's
Risk
no
factions for
reason
me.
that I
Just been
haven't.
sitting there.
Yeah, mine's LA Noire. It's still in the shrink wrap.
Yeah, you'll get to it eventually, I'm
Still
sure,
in the
right?
shrink wrap. I moved it from California to Texas in the shrink wrap and put it back. I saw when I was putting it on my shelf. I was like, someday. Okay, here we go.
Someday.
Yeah. So for the Steam Summer Sale, I actually am going to segue. My game is both on the Steam Summer Sale and was just speedrun on Summer Games Done Quick, which is the biannual charity event. for
Ray's
Doctors
out there.
Without- Yes, Ray's out
Where's
there.
it? Idaho?
Colorado.
Denver.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
they're close. I think geographically.
Map test.
It's not in Europe, so it's close in that
Well, I
sense.
like being that I'm from Utah. I should know that better.
Right.
I just know that they're like.
I think
they're
you're
both,
literally
like, right
between
there.
Colorado and Idaho, actually. When you say they're close,
No,
you're skipping over your whole state.
No, I think they're both north. You drive up to Idaho because that's where my dad always goes for lottery tickets because you can't buy lottery tickets in Utah. And then I
The
think
authorities are
Colorado's
on their way
just
to your dad's
over
house
a little
right
bit.
now. Yeah, but Ray's having a good time out there. It's not, in particular, it's not a part of the video game culture that I've ever really had much interest in, but I recognize a lot of people like it a lot, and it seems to be growing in popularity.
It is so much fun. I've never been a huge. I love to watch people play video games, but I've never been a speedrunner of any sort myself. And I really actually have never been super into watching them, but I have been glued to this stream since it started. And the Super Meat Boy one in particular, which is the game I'm picking from the Steam Summer Sale. I love Super Meat Boy, and there's a video on my YouTube channel where I'm on like the second to last level, and I kept dying, and I broke my limited edition RE4 red controller by throwing it into my closet, and I had to get a new controller to finish the game.
Sounds like you love it.
I love
Can't get
it.
enough of
It's
it.
so good. But then when I beat it, there's actually just a video of me just like screaming incoherently because I beat
Yeah.
the game. It's one of those games that like is not forgiving, and when you beat it, you actually feel accomplished.
I know exactly what you mean when you say you love Super Meat Boy because I fucking hate it. I can't stand it. And it's not I'm well past the point of like, oh, it's so difficult that I love it. It's so difficult I fucking hate it. And I'm not going to turn around. There's no like point at which you go high enough and hate that I flip over to like. It's just not going to take place.
I just the reason that I was super into the speedrun yesterday is first of all because it's insanely difficult, but second of all.
Explain to people who haven't played Super Meat Boy before.
So Super Meat Boy, for those of you who have not played, is a platformer where you play as Super Meat Boy, and his girlfriend, Bandage Girl, has been kidnapped by the evil Dr. Fetus. And it's really funny. All the cutscenes are absolutely worth watching. They're hilarious. I laughed out loud a lot at this game. And basically, you're just jumping around. You stick to walls and slide down them and leave meaty trails everywhere. And there's saws and salt and all sorts of different things that can kill you. It's really, really fun.
Literally everything can kill you.
Everything can kill
Except
you.
for the one pixel you're supposed to stand on. At some points.
Exactly. And it's so there's so many variables, like fans blow you in directions, and it messes with gravity a lot. It's really, really fun. But one of the reasons I was like, it reignited my love. The reason I wanted to talk about it, fun. One of the reasons I want to talk about it today is because I was watching the speed run and it was a completionist run. So they did 106%. And there were a bunch of stuff I'd never known about the game, like the glitch levels I'd never seen before until yesterday. And even though I love this game and I beat it, there's still so much to play. I think I'm like maybe 40% complete or whatever it is. Like when you beat it, there's so much more to do. So now I'm like, yay, I'm back to loving it again. I'm going to do more.
So
Yay.
do you like the super hard stuff? Is that something like would you like Dark Souls 2? Would you play that?
I think so. For some reason, like I love platformers. So this is a super hard platformer that, I don't know. I think it was just the right amount for me. Like this is one of those games that just I really connected with. I don't think it's always super hard games, and I do love story-driven games where it's not supposed to be ridiculously difficult. But Super Meat Boy is just I don't know. I just really like it. It's really fun. So I'm always like excited to show it to people and to play it.
I'm trying to think of what I've done like that. I've played some games on very hard modes for achievements, but the game that is like designed to be hard, like that's the reason why people play the game. That never grabs hold of me. But I'm not saying Super Meat Boy is a bad game.
Yeah.
It's actually a good game, and I know a lot of people like it. It just doesn't line up with my taste at all.
I get that. I think it's because I always skew to classic games and like Super Nintendo games and things like that where they were just freaking hard sometimes. And that's just how it is. So I don't know. I think that kind of speaks to me, and that it also has a retro look and feel, and that is the aesthetic that I really love in games. So yeah, I don't know. So anyway,
are you going to play it in a second?
I am going to play it. I think Burnie also did some video of it. If you guys want to take a look at Super Meat Boy.
Yeah.
The monitor's behind me, so I don't know if it was...
I'll read this really quick.
Yeah,
and then you can get set up for your game.
Why don't we do this? I'll tell you what, even though it'll drive Gus insane, why don't we do her speed run at the end of the show?
Okay,
Because
great.
then we'll have a full podcast, and for the audio podcast, we'll just link back to it, and then we'll keep it on the video podcast.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yes.
All
Us
right.
commentating over her run in audio might not be the most entertaining thing of all.
All right, so you've probably tried Hulu on your computer. Hulu Plus is so much more. With Hulu Plus, you can watch current season episodes of your favorite shows like Modern Family, yay, The Daily Show, and Scandal. And watch every episode of shows like Nashville, Lost, and Doctor Who, because bow ties are cool. You get ad-free movies and kids shows too. Now more than ever, there is so much to watch. Take total control with Hulu Plus to stream these shows and thousands more as much as you want, whenever you want. Hulu Plus works on your computer, smart TV, Roku, Apple TV, Xbox, PlayStation, pretty much any streaming device you already own. You can even watch on your phone or iPad while on the train, at work, at the dentist, or in the bathroom. What? You can even block off a day to just binge. You'll also get access to originals that you can't get anywhere else. Check out the new show Deadbeat, a comedy about a pot-smoking guy who talks to ghosts. Binge on all 10 episodes starting April 9th, which is past, so you can do it now. For only $7.99 a month, get your shows anywhere, anytime, anywhere. That's like a quarter a day. Right now, sign up at huluplus.com/patch and get 2 weeks full access completely free. That's a whole extra week more with this special offer when you sign up at huluplus.com/patch. So get with it and start streaming TV now with Hulu Plus.
I do want to point out that you can see the Hotel Rwanda trailer on Hulu Plus right now. It's right there. I can click it. Mr. Don Cheadle, his beautiful face. I won't be doing that.
I'll put it right in my queue. And
Yeah,
it will
exactly.
stay there forever.
I'll ignore that.
I also want to point out that Midnight, the Comedy Central Store Midnight that we appeared on with Gus Sorolla, myself, and young Gavin Free all appeared on that show.
Thing.
Meg, you were with us that night.
I was in the back laughing at all your jokes. I was actually back
In
on the
between
risers.
eating every cupcake in the dressing room.
Absolutely.
All the cupcakes?
Gavin hates cake, so I had to.
What?
Yeah, I had to take advantage.
They were awesome. They
were
gave us like this
delicious.
tray of like tiny little
They were
cupcakes.
mini cupcakes, like 1-bite cupcakes.
I love mini
I ate
cupcakes.
6 of them.
You know, that's the
Just
downside.
frosting at that
That's the
point.
downside to mini cupcakes is that you get a big cupcake and like you're like, all right, I'm gonna have a cupcake.
Never ever
Mini
start any
cupcakes,
sentence
you
with
just
that's
go,
the downside to cupcakes. Never say that. There's no,
No,
you
that's the
can't follow
downside
that with
to-
anything.
That's the downside to mini cupcakes.
Still has a cupcake.
No.
Cupcake is the overriding factor. There's no downside to cupcakes.
And then I smuggled out a whole box of them for you, Burnie.
And I ate them.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
So
each
we-
I
person
didn't
got
hear
their
about
own.
this.
Each person got their own box, and I ate all of Gavin's. And then Burnie was like, "Hey, do you have a bag?" And I had a big purse. He was like, "Great, take these out for me."
I'm working it off the rails here, but actually, when we were out there,
It's related to Cooking Mama.
I was supposed to
Yes.
bring home Gavin's stuff because he left it in my
Oh,
car.
God.
And instead of him coming all the way to where I was, I decided to bring everything home. And I've had this stuff, like a bag of his hair product. So if his hair's been
His
flat,
jeans and his hair. He didn't buy any new hair product,
What's
and
wrong
I've
with
been
him?
hearing about it for months. Like, oh, I
go and buy
gotta
it.
get my hair product. The best part was that Burnie brought it back to him, and it melted in his car, and he was like, "Oh, too bad." And then Burnie ran out immediately and got him a new thing
I take
of
that
hair
seriously.
gel.
I take it seriously. What I don't like, and I will complain about, is the fact that I decided to do somebody a favor, and now it's like working against me, and I'm like, I fucking hate this.
Why does he not
But I
like
did
the
fuck
new
up
hair
his hair
product you
gel.
got him?
No, it's just that he had to carry his stuff for
I still haven't given it to him. It's been like 4 weeks at this point. So
burn it. He'll
if
never know
Gavin
the
is naked and has
difference.
no hair gel, you know why. So, all right, what else should we talk about before Meg does her speed run through Super Meat Boy? Anything else dramatic happened this week in video games?
Let's see. I have a little list here of stuff that.
Get a little bit of a segue to something. So, Super Meat Boy was one of the games that was featured in Indie Game the Movie.
Yes.
And one of the other developers that was in Indie Game the Movie was Mr. Phil Fish.
Oh, Phil
and
Fish.
he recently went on. He's the developer of
my hissy cat
Fez.
noise.
Well, you could say the infamous developer of Fez.
Yes.
He recently went off on a rant about specifically Let's Plays and YouTube footage of video games, and just went on a rant about why that should not be allowed, or that the video game developer should be able to claim all that footage.
Yeah, specifically, he said that things like Let's Plays are basically piracy. This is his exact quote. This is his tweet. Ad revenue should be shared with developers. This should be built into YouTube. Anything else is basically piracy. If you generate money from putting my content on your channel, you owe me money. Simple as that.
Yes. Phil Fish, for those of you who aren't aware, by the way, Indie Game the Movie, please go see. It is amazing. You can get it. I believe it's still on Netflix. It was once upon a time. It is an incredible film. Basically, Phil Fish loses his mind in the film. He's finishing Fez, or trying to finish Fez. Fez did come out, and even though it was, like 4 years in the making, it was a little bit underwhelming. It was good, but a little bit underwhelming for 4 years of waiting. Then he started on Fez 2 and lost his damn mind and quit the video game industry.
Didn't he get it? He got into a fight with a critic.
Yes.
And just like rage quit the industry.
He doesn't know how to take criticism, would be to put it lightly. And then I did an opinion piece on him, actually, that said he's an asshole. Out.
Really?
Drop the mic. He's an asshole. Drop the mic.
Really?
Yes. Phil Fish is an asshole.
Yeah,
Come
but-
at me, Phil Fish. You're an asshole.
Here's it, like, how do you rage quit the industry and then be like, no, wait, I'm kind of back. By the way, everyone should give me money.
Oh, yeah. And then he rage quit Twitter.
Does that
And
work?
then Rachel
I'll do it
did
right
it.
now.
Yeah.
I'll quit the industry right now. Here this is bolted now.
Yeah.
I was going to table flip, but it's not. It's bolted.
Yeah, that he deleted his Twitter account and just like he refuses to have dialogue.
He needs help.
I thought there was a great objective piece that was tweeted by Destin over at IGN. And he tweeted about a YouTube video, which was an analysis of Phil Fish, which is not like Phil Fish the guy. It's Phil Fish, the Phil Fish phenomenon. And it's just like this, the Fez. It's like sometimes the story of a project can outweigh the story of the project. You know what I mean?
that's
It
what
becomes its own
happened.
thing. And that's what I think happened with Fez. Ben King and I, our web developer, we actually did, because I've known Ben just like Gavin since he was like 15 or 14. They kind of grew up on our site, and Ben would get in arguments with people online and said, to grow up in the public space or to come up in the public space is a tough thing. And there was a YouTube video. I will link it in the link dump. We can't show it here on the podcast, but it was a guy who did a very thorough, objective analysis of Phil Fish and why is Phil Fish regarded at the level that he is. And it's not because he's loud, and it's not because he's obnoxious, it's not because he's boisterous, it's because he's all of those things, and he's famous. And it's like, gets into like, does Phil Fish deserve his success, and whatever that means, or does he deserve his fame, which are two totally unquantifiable things, whether somebody deserves something and what the hell is fame anyway. And I thought it was really interesting. It was an independently produced YouTube video, and I'll link it in there. It's
Yeah.
really, really interesting.
No,
I'd
I
like
think
to
he's
watch it.
definitely someone who brings about an interesting dialogue, even if he refuses to participate in it.
Yeah, it's almost like he walks in, he starts a topic, and then he just like drops the mic and walks out.
Yeah, well,
And
it's
then
like
the rest of us are left to talk about it, which, it's good. It's a thing that is good to talk about. But it's weird that he has a habit of like bringing up he brings up topics that he refuses to talk about.
Right, exactly. He doesn't just necessarily drop the mic and then take off. He comes in the room, drops a bomb, waits for it to explode, takes all the people who are mad it exploded, screams at them, and then walks out before they can scream back. Like, it's just, he's just the kind of he wasn't built for criticism, and to put something that is so personal, like a video game project that you create as an indie dev is incredibly personal. And I realize that it's hard to take criticism on something that's really personal, but you have to be able to do that to be in this industry.
I think you have to be a little bit measured in the amount of like overwhelming passion that you show. Otherwise, it just seems like you're generating deliberate noise. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to go out there and say that he kind of makes other indie developers look bad, because there are hundreds and hundreds of really amazing, talented, and most importantly, disciplined indie developers out there making amazing games and these amazing experiences. But it seems like Phil Fish always makes it about himself. And so it's almost like he sees himself as the figurehead of the entire indie games development community. And for whatever reason, the fact that he sees himself that way and almost in some ways seems to represent himself that way, everyone has just sort of gone along with it.
Well, let's talk. We're wrapping up here, but I want to talk about the guy's points and not the guy himself, right?
Sure.
So this whole thing is, I tweeted at the top of the hour when somebody wrote to us. I retweeted somebody who wrote that they recently bought 3 games in the last 2 weeks. One of them was Game Dev Tycoon, because they had seen us playing them on our channel on YouTube,
Yes.
and then they came up in the Steam sale. And so it's like there's no accounting for how much money the Let's Play industry generates for the video game industry.
Absolutely.
There's no accounting for that in any way, shape, or form. And the online video industry has always suffered from, I think, a problem of metrics, where it's open and you can see literally how many people are watching this. And they can see, like, I have a video that's based on Fez, and it's Ben King and I playing, and you can see how many people watched it. But I can't see how many people went out and bought Fez because we were playing the game and it was an interesting game. I can see how many people have bought it before and played it before because they all screamed just for being shitty at the game. So that's like 1,000.
And there's another thing too, is like, how many views would that video have if it was just gameplay and it wasn't you and Ben having a dialogue and adding to that? If it was just straight gameplay, like, how popular is that going to be?
Well, yeah, that's one of the things,
right?
that
It's the personalities that really drive that stuff.
Absolutely. That's actually Reggie Fils-Aimé. He basically said that he doesn't think Twitch streaming is interesting because only if it's just gameplay. He doesn't think straight gameplay is interesting in any way, shape, or form. And so that's kind of one of the reasons Twitch hasn't been integrated into the Wii U yet. And it kind of brought up this dialogue at E3 of, is how much does commentary add, and do you think gameplay is boring? And a lot of people at first were outraged by these comments because Twitch is very beloved in the community. But then when they looked at the actual...
And they are the official streaming partner of RTX.
That's right. And they were the official streaming partner of E3 and of the Nintendo Treehouse.
Of everybody, of the Xbox and the PlayStation as well.
Exactly.
They're the YouTube of streaming.
And a lot of people were mad at Reggie at first, but then they read the entire quote and they were like, you know what, I kind of agree. Like, just gameplay I'm not really looking for. Like, even with the speedrunners, the most interesting part of the speedrunning is the speedrunners going, okay, on this jump you have to be at this pixel and you have to, like, their input is what makes it interesting.
Yeah, or even, you could make an argument that, I could make the argument at least, that
I will make
a speedrunner, that you can take the game and the game can be performed in infinite number of ways. That game can be performed. It is the performance of the speedrunner in that game that makes it interesting.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would agree with that 100%.
Okay, I want to say somebody on Twitter just said, somebody just said
speedrun?
on Twitter that the only reason I bought Minecraft is because of your Let's Plays. Well, would you be willing to say that in court?
Hi, we're gonna need you to be.
If we get a piece of Minecraft sales, that would be awesome. That was a joke, by the way. That was a joke.
That actually makes a perfect ending point. Is we'll wrap up for our audio listeners, and then we'll stick around and watch Meg do her own speed run. It's a Meg Games Done Quick for Super Meat Boy, and show us how it's done.
By the way, I'm not a speedrunner.
All right,
Don't judge me.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to The Patch. Gus will be back next week, and we will have lots more order in
structure
place.
and order and
All
rules.
Right. So we'll end the audio podcast there, and now Meg, let's see what you got. Let's put your money where. Now, how fast? What are you going to do, and how fast do you want to do this?
Okay, so last night I literally got one run through before we went to Bev's. So
to Bev's.
Yeah, we went to,
Michael came back in town.
Oh, I was like, why can't I read? I got to put my real glasses on for this.
They're right here.
Hold on. I got this part.
We have we have
dun.
special glasses for Meg for light reflections for all the no news reads.
Okay, so I got one chance to run through the first world map, and I went to, when I watched a speedrunner from Awesome Games Done Quick, he did the first world in 4 minutes and 44 seconds, and he got all of the bandages and the glitch warp zone. I got 5 minutes and 10 seconds. My first try.
Don't set us up here.
Hold
okay.
on.
Am I timing it?
You should time it. Well,
Hold on.
Well,
Tell me when to start. I loaded my camera. I'm too nervous.
Okay. I won't go into the level until you start.
Okay, ready.
I'm not gonna get I'm not gonna do the completionist round. I'm just gonna go as fast as I can. Okay. Are you ready?
Ready.
I'm ready.
No,
Okay.
wait. I'm ready. Sorry.
3, 2, 1, time.
I wasn't ready.
Jesus.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You're good.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, look at the half dissolve.
Go, Meg. And I started looking up how they do all the different levels, and some of them I can't do yet. So
So that's already one level down. 14 seconds.
3
She's got
levels.
one level down.
That was level 3.
That was level 3?
This is level 4.
Oh, wow. 18 seconds in. No pressure, no pressure. So if you've never played this game before, it's, you can leap off of walls, you can leap from one wall to the next, or up one wall. And the longer she holds jump, the longer the Meat Boy character jumps.
All I can think is that this is seriously defying physics, but then he is a lump of meat, so I guess that's to be expected.
And then here are the saws. Basically, yeah, he's a skinless lump of meat, so anything that he gets exposed to will kill him. Which is everything in the game.
Everything.
And
And Bandage Girl heals him because she's bandages.
Aw.
Get it?
Here's how you know that the game is hard to play. Now, these blocks, when she jumps on them, will disappear over time. And there's some bandages. There was one on that screen there that you can get.
I'm just not getting any band-aids this run, just for total speed. Oh, fuck, I missed that jump. Go.
And then there's coming up one here, I think, where there's a glitch gate where she can go through. It's almost like a warp zone, but it's really just extra levels.
Shit. Ah, fuck it.
No,
Go,
you got
go.
this. You got
Go,
this.
no!
Recover. No, don't see that's
Falling apart.
Don't get the cascade. So that's 2 deaths. She's a minute and 20 in, and she's on level something.
I'm really excited watching this.
There's a warp zone on this one.
That's the warp zone there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I've already passed. That was the second warp zone.
And it will just add to the amount of work you have to do. Like, it doesn't really... It won't get you to the end of the level faster. Or
No,
anything
the
like that.
warp zone opens. The warp zones in this world open 3 extra levels that you play with different characters. Commander Video was the first warp zone.
It's actually cool. It's a very retro feel to it.
It's really fun, and all the characters do something different. Commander Video can hover.
Man,
This,
you are fucking kicking ass.
These are all super. These are the easiest levels.
I
So
love
I
how-
know.
Oh,
I'm
you want to
gonna
watch me
that
do
a
it?
lot.
Let's
The
extend the
super short
patch.
length of these levels makes me think. It reminds me a little bit of was it WarioWare?
Oh.
Like on the DS, it was all like those 2-second games.
Turn, and they always just have one word that you're going what, and then the game's over.
Well, you have to. The great thing about WarioWare games are that, especially when you first start playing, the games are so intuitive that they show you how to play it for like half a second.
Yeah.
Then they put you in the game, and you immediately figure it out. And you have about 4 seconds to play the game. She's
Yeah.
probably practiced this quite a bit.
No way.
I literally think this is as far as I've gotten in the game. Is this
Really?
level right here?
Oh, this is a great. You're almost to the first boss.
What, there's a bosses in this?
No,
Okay, I definitely
yeah,
haven't gotten
at the
to
end
that.
of the first world.
Yeah. I gave up on life at this point. I think my problem is I realize I get with some games where, and I think Ellis is a person who does runs in this thing all the time.
Shit.
But I get with some games where, and you don't have to listen to me, you can do your thing. When I realize I can't 100% the achievements in it, I just give up on the game entirely. And I got to admit, that's when I stopped playing Assassin's Creed 4, when I realized I had to get to level 55 in multiplayer, and I was just not going to do that.
Yeah.
And the problem is, I hate when I discover those achievements really late in the process. With Super Meat Boy, I found it pretty early. I knew I was not going to get all the achievements in this game. And it just wasn't going to happen for me. Nice. Level done. All right.
Wow.
Do you want to know where you are?
No, because this is the boss.
So is this it?
Yeah, this is the
Wow,
boss.
that was impressive.
So
I'm
if you
holding my
win
breath.
if you win this level, is this it?
Yeah. Come on, cutscene.
Kill the boss.
You just have to run from him.
I
and
got to
then-
this level. This is where I stopped.
Did you watch the cuts? Oh fuck! Did you watch the cutscene on this one? Because it's the funniest cutscene in the game.
I don't think I got past this. Or even the one before that we just saw. You never mind. You go ahead and play. How you doing, Ashley?
Intimidated.
And Meg was saying earlier that it reminded her of the Super Nintendo platforming style games with super perfect pixels and all that.
Yeah, pixel perfect.
Yeah, where you got to jump to down to the pixel, get that jump perfectly timed.
Yeah.
I hated those games,
Yeah.
Battletoads and the Super Star Wars games and stuff like that. They just drove me insane.
That's. I have a hard time with that sort of exact precision. Was
Time.
my trouble in. Hey.
Hey, 416. Not bad.
So 416. So that's better than the score for the guy that you
Well,
were talking
he
about.
did all this. He got the band-aids and everything. I didn't go back to get all the bandages. I just did a complete speed run. So I don't know if the guy who did a completionist run, I just looked at his time. But
All right, so we're gonna wrap up here. So if
Yeah.
you want to get Super Meat Boy on She was playing on the Xbox 360 just there, but if you want to get it on Steam, it's available on the Steam sale right now, or get it on Xbox 360, or they don't have one.
This is going to be my new bucket list item.
Is it available
doing a speed
on
run
PlayStation as well?
I don't think so. I've always played it on 360, but you can definitely do it on Steam. Ashley's going to look it up.
I'm looking it up right now.
I don't. This cutscene is so great.
That's horrible.
No, it just keep on because it gets even better.
What is this?
all these squirrels
It's
killed
Xbox
themselves.
360 via Xbox Live Arcade, Windows, Mac OS X, and Linux. So
Mac. Wow, look at that. All right, so you can be much better at Super Meat Boy than I am.
sorry,
Obviously,
OS
Meg is.
10.
That's Mac. It's fine.
I know.
It's fine.
Whatever.
You can get it there. Try to beat Meg's time. Once again, Meg's time to go through the entire first level
Yeah,
with no
first
bandages
world.
and no glitch gates was 4 minutes, 16.23 seconds.
I can do better, but we'll do it together. It'll be fun.
All right, see if you can beat
Do.
it. Tweet your
Right.
time.
Do.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Oh, I thought we got cut off.
We'll
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everybody.